Hello, I'm Thomas with the Museum of Discovery. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you're having a good time at home. What we have are a few different ways that you can create what's called a vortex generator. Now, what is a vortex? A vortex is a spiraling fluid. Think like a tornado. So you're going to have some sort of rotation. Now, what we have here at the Museum of Discovery is a big trash can. Now, you can build one at home like this if you want. It does sacrifice a trash can, but you can also build one with a cardboard box that I'm going to show you in a minute. But let me go over the basics of a vortex first. So this trash can is filled with air. Now those molecules are bouncing around all over the place inside this. So that air's sitting in there, and what I have is a membrane on the back. This is a rubbery material that's kind of squishy. So what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to depress it or just kind of hit it. It's going to force air out. Now the reason the air is going to want to leave is because higher pressure wants to go to lower pressure. So when I hit this, the inside of this container becomes pressurized to a small amount. But either way, that air wants to equalize, so that pressure wants to equalize, so it's going to leave and equalize between these two spaces, this room right here and inside this chamber. Now, I can show you what that looks like using a fog machine. So this is a basic fog machine. You can get them for about $25 on Amazon. I'm going to add just a little bit of fog in here, and I'm going to demonstrate what this vortex ring looks like. Now, you're going to see a circle come out of it, and watch how it rotates inside out from itself, over and over. And that ring is a vortex. You see how it spirals on itself? So the shape of this vortex is called a toroid. That's the three-dimensional shape known as a donut. So you'll see this donut flipping inside of itself over and over and over as it travels through the air. Now what we can do is we can increase the velocity of that vortex by giving it a harder hit on the membrane, like this. So we can shoot lots of these things. Now, we have a fog machine. If you don't have a fog machine at home, what you can do is you can create small little paper targets. Now, this is very simple to create. All you have to do is get some lightweight paper. Now, newspaper will work just fine for this. You're going to want to avoid the really heavy like cardboard or cardstock, because it's not going to want to move as easily. So if you just fold it up, if you fold it over on itself, you can make more of these at once. And if you just kind of cut the edge off, that's a folded seam. You can now cut across like this, and then gather those up. All you have to do is basically cut this in half, like right there and right here. And now you have a lot of little targets. What I like to do is I like to bend these to where they're in the shape of a V, and you can set them up like little A-frames all over the place. You could also set them up with that same fold. You can set it up like an L. You can set it up a few different ways. Basically, you can go Vortex Bowling. So you can create these targets that you're going to try and hit at a distance. Now, if you don't happen to have a 32-gallon trash can that you want to sacrifice, you can use a cardboard box. So let me show you how we are able to create a vortex generator using nothing but cardboard and a little bit of tape. Right here, I have a cardboard box. So you can use any size box that you want, but I recommend it be fairly large, about this size, which is going to be, somewhere around 18 inches by about 12 inches, and maybe another 12 inches. So with this size box, you're going to get, or actually it says it right here. So this box is 19 by 10 by 13, but you don't have to use this exact dimension. You don't want to use a box that is so small that it won't bend, because what we actually are going to be exploiting is the flexibility of the sides, and what I recommend is you use the broadest side as the side you're going to squish. Now, as you can see, you're gonna have to cut a hole somewhere in your box. To me, I think it's the best to set it on kind of the plane that's gonna be perpendicular to your longest side. So this is our longest dimension right here, so I would wanna put it on this side. Now the reason I have it here down at what I'm calling the bottom is because my daughter has a hard time holding this. It's kind of too big for her. So if I set this down like this, she's gonna be able to come across the top and push down. Now, what we're gonna do is create that exact same vortex that we saw with the trash can. When we press down on this, watch what happens with this paper over here. It's gonna blow away, and that's how you're gonna see that your vortex is flying across the room. Now, these can go very, very far. The record is hundreds of feet across a warehouse. Not using cardboard, using a different design, but the principle is the same. So you're experimenting with that air pressure. So if we come over here, when I squeeze this, that higher pressure is going to go to lower pressure, which is outside of this box. And even within this hole right here, the inside, the very center of that hole, is going to have higher pressure, and the outside is going to have lower pressure, so it's going to want to curl around. And that's what creates that donut that you see. So that it's that difference in pressure and it trying to equalize that creates that toroid that flies through the air. It flips inside of itself. So if we place this and kind of aim it near our target, you can go, like I said, you can go Vortex Bowling. And you might have to change the way you hold it to get a good little puff. You can kind of squeeze it like this. As I mentioned, if you want to, you can set it down and then you can press across the top. So this is a fun way to explore some air just in your room. If you happen to have one of these really cool fog machines, this cardboard will create that exact same thing that we saw with the trash can. So you will get that exact same vortex ring. Let's see if we can take a look at it. There it is right there. So if you change the diameter of your hole, you'll change the diameter of those rings. The wider the ring, or the wider the diameter of the hole in your box, the wider that ring is going to be. Now, if you go too wide, so say you cut something the entire size right here, if you go too wide, you'll create a very large ring, but it's gonna move very, very slowly, and you won't really be able to knock anything over. So if you don't have the fog machine at home, which most of us do not, then you're gonna wanna keep your hole fairly tight so that it can shoot that quick ring across the room.